My name is Jenna, and this is my page, Whispers from Another World. And I have three really important topics that I want to touch on with you today. And I normally don't write out what it is I'm going to say, but for some reason I did today, and now I know why. Because I am having seizures today. So, in order for me to keep these topics clear and on point and not ramble or forget what I'm trying to say, it's clearly written out. So, bear with me. Um, I do want to thank you and let you know that I do appreciate you if you are a returning viewer. And if you're new, I invite you to stay and hang out and snack on some wisdom that I'm about to give you. Check out my other videos as well. So the three topics that everyone has to navigate themselves through this journey is to help give you some information and to help alleviate some of the obstacles for you. So this video, I'm going to be diving in on how to see beyond the wound and how to stop focusing on what was lost, and how fear, when left unchecked, creates an energy scarcity that will block your growth. So if you're someone that has been feeling stuck or feeling like there's this heavy weight sitting on you, or feel like you're being guided to shift your perspective on things, this message is for you. And mainly because the truth is that your wound is not your identity, your loss is not your ending, and your fear is not your destiny. So we're going to touch on how you can turn all of that into your strength, clarity, and creation energy. And it'll take work on your end, definitely some dedication. Um, Excuse me, that was a seizure. Dedication, but if you want it, you will be willing to put in that work. So the first one is seeing beyond the wound. Sometimes we have to look past the wound itself to see the truth beneath it and the part of us that's trying to heal, right? So to do that, we have to step back from the pain and the emotions that we're feeling from what has wounded us. And sometimes you have to truly take a few deep breaths while doing this, while you're in your mind and analyzing yourself and the role that you and others have played. Um, because sometimes the truth that you have to come to is that you yourself played a role in your own wound. And that can be something, it's like a harsh truth that you have to face sometimes. But it's very important to be real and honest with yourself and the role that you played, as well as the role that others played or um, outside forces has played. Okay. um, you need to look at it as, what is this trying to show me or teach you, rather than tell yourself over and over again, it took from me, or or it did this to me. So you're going to be shifting your vision of the situation from "this hurts, this just caused me so much pain and destruction," to "what is the lesson? What is the message I need to take away from this situation? What is it I need to know?" And you'll do this by observing your emotions and not being your emotions. Um, Sometimes the pain and the hurt is so that you can learn what type of people to avoid and not deal with, or so you can learn what type of boundaries you need to set up or adjust, or simply how to start looking at similarity in traits that people have that continuously hurt you in the same type of way. So it's like when people say same devil but new face, that's what they mean. There's a similarity between all of these people that you deal with, and it may not be the same situation every time, but it's in the bracket of it being the same situation. And that's because you're not seeing something, whether it be a red flag or a personality trait or something that they have you engage in, you're not connecting the dots. Your brain isn't putting the puzzle pieces together, to show you that, hey, you just dealt with this type of person like 4 months ago. This is no go. So that's why it's good for you to step back when you do get hurt, and it's not to say don't feel your emotions, because it's okay to be hurt and feel that hurt, but you're not supposed to stay in it. So you can feel it for a couple days, and then after that, you need to wipe your tears and step back and say, all right, what's the situation here? What's happened? So, what I like to ask myself is very kindergarten style, middle school style. The who, what, when, where, why, and how. If you can answer those questions, you can get a foundation for the outside view of what is going on. Is there a pattern here, for why this keeps happening? And is it me, or is it really these people? Sometimes you can just be such a nice person that you're a target, and that's why you keep encountering things like this. So it's not so much you, right? But it is the fact that you don't have enough boundaries. You're not protecting yourself, and that would fall back into your worth, your value. It also is with the person. If it's a person, you need to pinpoint what it is about that person. Is there a specific trait, characteristic, an interest that this person shares with past relationships or whatever? And once you find and pinpoint that, you can then move forward. And if the next person has it, step back. And the reason why it's important to catch these patterns is because the world is built off of shapes and patterns, and so is our lives. And if you can't catch a pattern happening, then you're going to forever keep encountering it over and over and over again. And that is the universe's way of saying, hey, you're back in this situation. Do you recognize the pattern? Do you see the shape, the form it's taking? So yeah. It takes courage. I'm going to just say this, okay? It takes a lot of courage to see past the wound, because, like I said, you could be a crucial part in that wound, and people don't typically like to take responsibility for playing a part in their own wound. They'd rather blame everything around them. And it will break you down when you realize that you do play a part in it, because then you realize you need to restructure yourself. but that's a whole nother topic. The hurt is real, okay? But it's not who you are. It's just what you've been through, what you've allowed yourself to go through. So, in a sense, you should allow yourself to feel the emotion, but don't get stuck in it and let it become your identity. So, for an example of letting it become your identity, that's like a kid who has several brothers and sisters. Maybe they're the youngest. By the time they come along, they're not listened to. Parents have already got their automatic tuning out to children around them. You know, this kid feels unheard, and when they do talk, no one's taking them seriously, right? So then you have a kid who's going to keep crying about stuff because it hurts their feelings. No one's listening to them or taking them seriously. And then before you know it, that kid is stuck with a crybaby label. And, you know, let's just say the older sibling has a friend that says, hey, come hang out. And they're like, oh, well, I got to bring Joe. You know, and the friend's like, crybaby Joe. Well, yeah, that kid has allowed his emotions to become him. That is now what people identify them as. Just like people who get stuck in negative thought patterns, negative Nancy. Like, so you don't want to be identified by your emotions that you feel, because at the end of the day, they're valid. You get to feel them. Nobody can tell you how to feel, but you just can't get stuck in them. It's not healthy. You don't want to deny the wound, okay, because it's real. If you feel it, it's real. But you do need to see what's hidden behind it. But how to do that is you're going to soften your focus. Usually when people are hurt, they zero in on typically who hurt them, right? And not so much what played factors in that hurt. So let's say it's a relationship, okay? You could have a partner who left you, and maybe they left you here. For instance, I'll share an example. I was 17 years old, and I was going to the Applied Medical Center for school and high school, and I was in the nursing program, and there was a kid in the dental program. We were just friends. And he was a Jehovah's Witness though. And at that time I was getting interested in trying different religions because for some reason I couldn't get my answers or my questions answered. And so I was a teen mom at the time, and his mom had found out that I had a kid, and she wouldn't let him hang out anymore. And I was already starting to go to their church, the Kingdom Hall, and they shunned me because I had a kid, and because the mother pretty much was telling the church there that I wasn't following the rules with having a chaperone when hanging out and things like that. This kid literally disappeared off the face of the earth. It didn't come to that school no more. Didn't answer the phone. So much so that like when I drove by his house and knocked on his door to make sure that he was okay, his mom had said that he wasn't living there. But I could see him standing at the top of the stairs, right? So for that, if I could have easily have blamed him, right? Gotten mad at him and said, "Oh, why didn't you stand up to your mom about me? We were friends. There was nothing going on. She shouldn't have removed you, yada, yada, yada." But instead, I had to soften that focus, widen the view, and realize it came down to the mother and her beliefs and how she was raised and the hurt that was done to her. Because his dad was white, she was black, and his dad left her, right? They were both Jehovah's Witness. She was a teen mom, got pregnant unchaperoned. So I could see the fear from the mother because of my situation, and she didn't want it happening to her son. Totally understand that. That's not what was going on, but she didn't want to take the time to hear or learn that. And that it's whatever. So I had to take that understanding and sadly realize that that wasn't going to be able to be a friend any longer, right? But it also put a sour taste in my mouth for Jehovah's Witnesses. And life works really funny because after that, my grandma had died and my grandpa got remarried, in a sense, just to have a female figure for my cousin who he had custody of. But she was a Jehovah's Witness. So I had a sour taste in my mouth about this Jehovah's Witness. And then a new one comes into my life who I had no clue she was a Jehovah's Witness until like a year or two down the line. And it was like, whoa, you're different from that one. So again, I got it put in front of my face where I had to learn the lesson. So it's things like that that you have to stop and reflect and review on. The next one is going to be, don't focus on what you've lost, but what you can build from what you've learned from what you lost. So you're not going to stay focused on the things that you have lost. You got to realize that chapter is written and it's done. You can't go back and do anything about it. It's not for you. And that person or those things, whatever, they have their own paths to walk as well. So you got to realize like it becomes very difficult intertwining lives because everybody's got their own little path they have to take. So, and it can be hard because you literally have, sometimes in order to let go of what you've lost, you have to work on it daily. I mean, it comes down to the thoughts. You have to stop the thoughts from coming into your head and being like, oh, poor me, I lost this. Or, you know, I really wish I could reminisce about getting this back, or why did this get taken from me? You have to work on stopping that thought process and just realize everything happens for a reason. 1 second. Okay. So instead of looking at what you've lost, you need to look at what you can build from what you lost. So what are the strengths that you gained? How can you create opportunities with the strengths that you gained? Your power in all of this is taking control and creating what comes next in your life. So you have a choice. Are you going to sit and wallow in what you lost and allow the rest of what's coming next in your life to just pass you and create more loss or more whatever, whenever, right? That's why. So when they say that you are working with the Creator, in a sense, that is how you would be working with the Creator, is by not allowing the loss to affect you, and to take that loss, review it, analyze it, right? That hurt, whatever, and see what the message was, what the lesson is that you were supposed to gain, what strengths you came out with it, and then how can you apply that to your future self? What can you create? whether you're creating a new you, whether you're creating new boundaries, whether you're creating a new lifestyle. However, you're creating something off of what you learned. Um, it's okay to grieve off of what you lost again, but your focus and your sight cannot stay there, because if it does, you're going to view everything as a potential loss, and then all that does is shut doors on you that should be open. You're going to look at it like what you build has more potential to be aligned and more stable than what fell just now. So you're going to take it as, okay, so when you go back and analyze, okay, so I lacked here. I wasn't enough in this area, but obviously I made it through this situation. So now I know what I need to do next time. So you'll be more stable and more functionable, more knowledgeable on the next build that you have. Loss also, to look at it in a better light, a more positive light. Loss can clear out space for things that are newer and better for you. Upgraded, bring in abundance and positivity and stuff. So maybe what you lost was really holding you back. Okay, and you just weren't seeing it. The universe was showing you signs and you weren't seeing it. You couldn't get rid of it. And so universe, cut it. We're going to make it disappear because you're not doing it. And the universe they'll take control and they'll cut it and they'll remove it, and it'll hurt. You'll go through your grieving. Okay, but it's for a reason, and that is to create more space for you to have the new stuff come in, the stuff that is going to help you, not take from you. So in that sense, you're going to turn it into a purpose and get yourself out of survivor mode and turn it into you're stepping into your purpose. What you lost does not have to define you, but what you build next will. Just know that. So people typically, when they think about people, you don't think about what it is they've lost. You're thinking about who they have become, right? And that would always be your next step. So if you don't take what you lost to better yourself and triumph over that loss, you're going to forever be looked at in a neutral light or a low vibration. Like, oh, them over there, they're always sad. No, we're trying to have fun tonight. You don't want them over there. Like, you don't want to be that person. Rebuilding with intention, strength, and knowledge would be your purpose. Don't continue to stand on the ruins, okay? And let your soul wither with the ruins, because that's what you're doing. When you sit in the loss, you're saying, oh, this is my home. I might as well wither away with it. Why? When there's territory you have not ventured out to, territory you have not touched, territory you don't have any knowledge about, that this is done with now. You've already experienced this. You can now venture off into that territory, okay, and go figure out new knowledge, learn something new, build something new, remake a life. That's like the universe giving you a new chance. This was going to take you down. We're going to remove this. This is no good for you. Now you can go on. So you need to look at it as something positive, because it just wasn't for you. You also need to remember that whatever is possible, if you can think it, then it's infinite. You can create it. No matter how old you are, no matter who's around you, if you can think it, you can do it. This last one is super important, okay? Because I just got over this one myself. Well, there's still little remnants of it with me, but this is a major one that literally is like a block for people's lives. It's fear. So fear creates energy of scarcity. So fear makes your mind believe there isn't enough of anything. Not enough time, not enough support, not enough options. And when we operate from fear, when we feel there's not enough of anything, we shrink ourselves. You shrink your vision, your scope of view on things, and you limit what you feel is possible or what you can do. Um, and fear creates a contract with your energy. So it closes your energy field. You can make your energy field as big as you want if you just picture it in your mind. But if fear shrinks your scope of view, you can't really picture your energy field going out there. And you can't really picture your energy field allowing you to fill that position or have that type of partner or that type of house or live that type of life. You can't picture that because you're, what do you call it, tunnel vision, right? Um, and when it's contracted with your energy, it makes everything limited and out of reach, right? So in that contract state, you can't receive abundance at all. Maybe very little and far, far apart if it comes at all. So what it does attract is lack, though. And that's how it creates a scarcity, energy scarcity vibration. You only, it's like a negative. It turns into a negative, and it just, the vibration that it has, it's like, um, what are those things that vibrate and like dirt and debris fall off? What is that? What are those things that vibrate and dirt and debris fall off when you... Okay, so instead of it being a magnet, okay, it's a certain type of vibration frequency where shit just falls away from you. You can't attract anything. So when you're afraid, your brain goes into survival mode and it stops looking for opportunities. Okay, and it focuses only on threats. And that type of view, it shifts your perception and makes you feel like resources, choices, or solutions are scarce, even when they're not. So it puts you into a false reality. Um, Fear tricks you into believing that you have less power and fewer options and no support. Scarcity is not the truth. Okay, that is not your reality. Scarcity is just the goggle lens that fear puts over your eyes. If you're able to bully fear and try to stand on it, above it, or simply just move it out the way, you'll be able to see that your possibilities are still there. Fear also tightens the heart and narrows the mind. So you're not able to even comprehend that you're lovable or that you're worthy or comprehend that maybe you're stuck in a certain way and you're not as loving as you should be. Or you always think a partner is out to get you or to do you wrong. And that goes back to you're not worthy of the love. So it's not a reality, it is an illusion. That is an illusion. If someone can create fear in you, they are putting an illusion in front of you. Fear and scarcity, they operate at the same time on the same frequency. So fear comes in and then it makes you think that you don't have anything. You're not going to get anything. You're not worthy of anything. They play off of each other. They work together. Fear blocks and restricts, and then scarcity limits the abundance and opportunities. Fear has the strongest hold on you, on everyone, when they're vague about the fear. If you just have these feelings of being fearful or of having fear at certain times and you don't know exactly what is causing that fear, then that fear has a real good hold on you. And you need to do some work on figuring out what in your life is causing that fear. And it can be multiple things, but you still need to pinpoint them. When you pinpoint them, the exact thing that's causing the fear, you take its power away. And that's because naming it brings it out the dark crevices of your mind, and it shines light on it. It's like, it's like you got this little rat running around in your mind, and the rat's got a microphone, right? And it goes and hides in the corners of your mind, but it talks in this big scary voice like it's a monster, a big old monster. And then when you find it, you're the light. Okay? So when you find it and pinpoint it, you got the flashlight. You're like, "Oh, it's just you." Right? You can stomp it out. So pinpointing it would be things like, I'm afraid to fall. I'm afraid I'll be abandoned. I'm afraid I won't be enough. So it's always something that hasn't happened yet. It's a fear of what's coming. Fear is not your intuition, okay? It's not the truth, and it's not your destiny. So you need to realize fear is a protective reflex that your mind does for something that you have either not experienced, but you've heard stories about, or something you've seen go wrong, but not necessarily for yourself, or you've possibly experienced something negative from a slight portion of a situation, not the entire thing. So that's what creates the fear. And when you realize that fear is just a reflex, your muscle reflex, your mind's reflex, you're instantly able to separate the fear from who you are. Like you'll be able to be like, "Oh, I don't want to wear the fear t-shirt today. I'm going to take this t-shirt off and put it over there." Like, fear lives in the nervous system. And so if you can get your body to relax as soon as you start to feel the fear emotion come on, if you can get yourself to relax, the fear won't have fuel to keep going, because your nervous system, what it generates when you get nervous, is the fuel that fear takes so that it can survive and keep going. Now, here's how you do that, okay? And this is universal. This is literally everyone in the world. This is like the secret code to unlock a lock, okay? 3 deep breaths in and out. Realize that your jaw is clenched, okay? So you gotta go like that. You gotta unclench your jaw, and you have to drop your shoulders. Now, dropping the shoulders is hard for me because I'm tense in my shoulders, and that's from walking on eggshells my whole life, so my shoulders sit up when they really shouldn't. I haven't gotten to that part of me yet. But anyways, you got to drop your shoulders, or at least attempt to. And that is literally a universal signal to the mind that says you're safe. You'll also know that fear imagines an outcome, okay? So you'll use logic to ground it. So when you start to feel fearful, You're going to let your logic kick in and you'll say, is this actually happening to me right now? Or is this something that I'm telling myself is going to happen? And then you'll say, well, what is happening to me right now? Am I safe right now? Am I cool? Is my environment cool? People around me, they cool? Okay, I'm all right. It's just fear. Go away. Fear is notorious for making the mind always think the worst case scenario. So, another way to stop it is you'll ask yourself 3 things. What 3 things can go right now? What 3 things are positive for you right now? And then literally, because it is a nervous system, it's like a muscle, right? And it takes the oxygen from that nervous system to feel it. You can retrain it. Like you can retrain a muscle, you can retrain it. So if you do these things to stop fear from getting to a full-blown stage, you nip it as soon as you start to fear it, you can retrain your brain not to go into that fear mode on you. This is also how you get out of being stuck in the negative mindset as well. Just so people know, courage doesn't act without fear. You don't ever tell someone, oh, well, that was courageous, if what you're going through isn't a fearful thing. So, courage is someone who acted while fear was active. It takes courage to stand up to the fear and tell it not today. Each time you practice these steps that I gave you to get over the fear, even though they're little steps and maybe you can only get through one of them or you can only get through one part of that step, it doesn't matter. Each time you do it, you're rewiring your brain. Your brain learns each time you do it. And what it's learning is that I'm strong, nothing happened, I can handle this, I'm okay. That's what you're telling your brain each time you practice these steps. And again, like I said, it is work. These aren't things that you just listen to me tell you and then you go about your day. You have to practice them. You have to do them. A lot of times people will get fear mixed up with discomfort. So one way to beat that fear feeling is realize that you need to think as fear, and instead of calling fear, you need to tell your brain, oh, some information's coming in. And the reason why is because when it's most likely discomfort and not really a legitimate reason to be fearful, it's just discomfort, that lets you know that you're expanding, okay? Your awareness, your energy, everything's expanding, and you're expanding into something unfamiliar. So like kids who are getting ready for their next grade at school, they get all nervous and scared. It's not because there's anything to actually be fearful for. It's because they're going into the next grade, the unknown, bigger kids, a different environment. So you also need to look at it. You're entering into a next level. You're going to start learning new things, experiencing new things to add to your life story. And along with that is new strengths that you really didn't realize or think about or know you had. This is also why I think the spiritual journey is a really cool and beautiful thing to be on. Because the topics that I just went over, whether it's your higher self, your ancestors, your guides, God, your soul mission, whatever, you you feel this connection to those things, right? And with that connection to those things comes support, comes being guided, and comes knowing you're not alone. So it's almost like it gives you more confidence, it gives you more fire to fight the monsters, right? Knowing that you have like a whole army behind you that are helping you fight the things that you are unaware of. So yeah. Just remember that you're so much more than what has hurt you, and don't let it become you. Your power is not what you lost, but is in what you choose to build from what you lost. And you'll be surprised at how many people drop their jaw when they see you rebuilding after loss, because not a lot of people get up after loss. And whenever fear tries to pull you back, you need to take a breath and return to what's true in the moment. Ask yourself, what's my reality right now? The fear hasn't happened yet. The fear is trying to tell my brain a story and make me think this way. And if this message resonated with you, please share it with somebody, because there's a lot of people out there that need to be reminded of the strength that they have in them and the strength that is coming to them. And I send you guys all love, protection, and clarity for your journey that you are on with all of this. And don't forget to keep watching my channel. And hit like, share, and subscribe, please.